Your current reality feels like the truth because it is close enough to touch. The room is real, the numbers are real, the silence is real, the delay, the pressure, the empty space, the result you keep seeing every morning, all of it feels final because it is standing directly in front of you. But Robert Collier pointed to a principle that most people never learn. The outer form is not the origin. It is the thing already formed. It is the print after the impression. The mold comes first, the form comes after. And if you mistake the form for the source, you spend your life taking instructions from something that is already late. That is why your current reality can lie to you. Not because it does not exist, not because you should deny it, ignore it, or pretend your circumstances are not there. That is childish. The lie is more subtle. Current reality lies when it tells you, this is who you are. It lies when it says, this is what is possible for you. It lies when it says, look at the evidence, this condition is final. But what you are calling evidence may only be an old instruction made visible. It may be yesterday's assumption, yesterday's fear, yesterday's accepted image, hardened into the shape you are now looking at. This video is about the difference between evidence and origin. Most people look at their life and think reality is giving them information about their future. Collier's framework suggests something more dangerous. Reality is often giving you information about your previous state. It is a report, not a command. It shows what has been impressed, repeated, accepted, and lived from long enough to take form. And if you mistake the report for the law, you keep recreating the report. Let me make this simple. Imagine a man standing in front of a ruined street. Everything around him says decay, broken walls, empty windows, dust, silence. If he accepts the scene as the full truth, his body contracts, his decisions shrink, his imagination collapses into the evidence. The ruin becomes not just what he sees, but what he assumes. And once he assumes it, he begins to live from the ruin. His thoughts become small enough to fit the street. His actions become defensive. His language becomes proof that the old world is still in charge. The outer form did not just appear in front of him. It entered him. But now imagine the same man sees beyond the ruin, a door opening into a different order. Not a fantasy, not an escape, a mold, a pattern, a formed inner direction that has not yet taken outer shape. The old street is visible, but the visible thing no longer receives the throne. This is the turning point. He does not deny the ruin. He refuses to be authored by it. He handles what must be handled, but he stops letting the old form name the next version of himself. This is why the thumbnail says it is not real. It does not mean the circumstances are imaginary. It means they are not ultimate. They are not the final authority. They are not the source. They are the visible crust of something that began before visibility. The danger is not that your current reality exists. The danger is that you keep bowing to it as if it created you. If that already touches something you have felt, hit the like. It tells me this is reaching the people who have been fighting their circumstances, without realizing they were still taking orders from them. The first correction is to stop asking current reality who you are. Current reality is the worst mirror for identity because it is delayed. A bank account can show a number, but it cannot tell you the size of your mind. A quiet phone can show no message, but it cannot tell you whether you are loved. A closed door can show a delay, but it cannot tell you whether the path is finished. The outside can report a condition. It cannot define the person who is now choosing the next inner mold. Most people lose their power at this exact point. Something happens outside, and they immediately accept it as identity. The result says no, so they become rejected. The number says low, so they become small. The person is silent, so they become unwanted. The opportunity delays, so they become forgotten. This is the trap. They do not just observe reality. They let reality name them, and once it names them, they begin to think, feel, speak, and act as the person the evidence described. The form becomes a mold, and the cycle starts again. Collier's principle breaks that loop. The mold precedes the form. The inner pattern comes first. The outer shape follows. If the visible condition is not what you want, the answer is not to stare harder at the condition. Staring does not change the mold. Reacting does not change the mold. Complaining does not change the mold. Worshipping the evidence only gives it more authority inside you. The work begins when you can look directly at the condition and refuse to let it become the identity from which you live. This is not denial. Denial says, this is not happening. Discipline says, this is happening, but it is not my source. Denial avoids the bill. Discipline handles what can be handled while refusing to become a person of lack inside. Denial ignores the silence. Discipline stops using the silence as proof of being unwanted. Denial pretends there is no obstacle. Discipline moves through the obstacle without letting it write the inner assumption. The difference matters. One is fantasy, the other is mastery. The second correction is to understand what current reality actually is: accumulated agreement. Not always conscious agreement, not always desired agreement, but agreement repeated through attention, fear, expectation, reaction, and identity. A person may say they want abundance, but if every morning they wake up and emotionally rehearse emergency, emergency becomes familiar. A person may say they want love, but if every silence becomes proof of abandonment, abandonment remains the baseline. A person may say they want a new life, but if every visible delay is treated as final, delay becomes the inner climate. The outer world then appears to confirm the very state the person is living from. This is why reality feels so convincing. It often has the precision of your old assumptions. It speaks in the language your nervous system already knows. It shows you scenes that match the identity you have practiced. And because it matches so closely, you call it truth. But matching is not origin. A shadow matches the body, but the shadow is not leading the body. The formed life may match the old mold, but the mold is still where the next work begins. Now, the original source matters here. What I am giving you in this video is the correction, not the full foundation. Collier's old work goes deeper into the relationship between the inner mold and the outer form, why accepted images become conditions, and why most people unknowingly build the very circumstances they later call fate. I left the original source in the description. The third correction is to stop arguing with the old form. This is one of the most important pieces. When people hear that reality is not the source, they try to fight reality mentally. They stare at the unwanted condition and say, "No, this is not real, this is not real." But that is still attention chained to the condition. The body still reacts, the mind still circles. The old form remains the center of the inner world, and whatever remains the center keeps shaping the mold. You do not change the mold by shouting at the form. You change the mold by withdrawing authority from the form and giving authority to the inner pattern you choose to inhabit. This is quieter than resistance. It feels less dramatic, but it is stronger. If the current condition says lack, you do not scream abundance at it. You enter the inner posture of sufficiency and begin acting from a steadier place. If the condition says rejection, you do not beg the mirror to call you chosen. You return to the inner posture of someone whose worth is not decided by silence. If the condition says failure, you do not beg yesterday's outcome to bless tomorrow. You return to the mold of competence, command, and continuation. This is hard because the senses are loud. The visible world has weight, it has texture, it has timestamps, receipts, faces, numbers, messages, empty rooms, closed doors. Owner assumption can feel quiet compared to that. But quiet does not mean weak. A seed is quieter than a tree. A blueprint is quieter than a building. A mold is quieter than the form. The invisible stage always looks less convincing to the senses, but it is often where the next visible thing is being shaped. The fourth correction is to create the new mold before you demand the new form. Most people want the form first. They want the money first, then they will feel secure. They want the love first, then they will feel chosen. They want the success first, then they will feel capable. That is ordinary consciousness. It waits for the outside to grant permission to become new inside. But the principle turns the sequence around. The mold precedes the form. You do not wait for the condition to give you the state. You practice the state until it becomes the place from which you meet the condition. This does not mean sitting still and doing nothing. It means the quality of action changes. A person acting from panic moves differently than a person acting from quiet command. Leave a single dot below if you have ever realized that your reaction to reality was keeping the old reality alive. The fifth correction is to use current reality as feedback, not prophecy. This is where maturity enters the method. You do not ignore what is in front of you. You read it correctly. If the outer world shows pressure, you ask, what old state is this trying to pull me back into? If the situation triggers fear, you ask, what identity does this fear want me to accept? If the evidence looks final, you ask, am I about to make a temporary form into a permanent self? This is where many people misunderstand inner work. They think the goal is to never feel fear, never notice lack, never react. That is not realistic. The old form will still pull on the body. The senses will still report. The mind will still try to return to the familiar. The work is not to become numb. The work is to stop giving every reaction the authority of truth. You can feel the pressure and still refuse the identity. You can see the delay and still refuse the prophecy. You can hear the silence and still refuse the conclusion. That refusal is not weakness. It is the beginning of a new mold. The sixth correction is to rehearse the next form from the end, not from the wound. If your current reality is showing lack, do not build a new inner image that is secretly about escaping lack. If it shows loneliness, do not build a scene that is secretly about proving you are wanted. If it shows failure, do not build a scene that is secretly about revenge. Those images still orbit the wound. For money, the new mold is not finally being saved. It is the calm order of someone for whom provision is normal. For love, the new mold is not finally being chosen by the person who made you feel small. It is the quiet belonging of someone who does not negotiate their worth. For success, the new mold is not finally proving everyone wrong. It is the steady authority of someone who no longer needs an audience to confirm their value. Now put the principle into practice. When current reality confronts you, pause before you accept its name. Do not rush to become the person the circumstance suggests. If the number is low, do not become low inside. If the message is absent, do not become abandoned inside. If the door is closed, do not become finished inside. Say inwardly, this is a report, not a command. This is a form, not the mold. This is evidence of what has been, not authority over what must be. Then return to the inner pattern you have chosen. Choose one scene that represents the new mold after it has become normal. Not the rescue, not the arrival, not the applause. A normal moment in the condition you are forming. Enter it through your own eyes. Find the visual detail, the physical feeling, the emotional tone. Let it be ordinary. Let it feel like Tuesday. This is the real test. Anyone can feel powerful when their eyes are closed. The old form tests whether you can remain internally aligned while the evidence is still catching up. That gap is where most people surrender. There is one final warning. Do not turn this into a war against reality. War keeps you bound to what you fight. Current reality is not your enemy. It is an old printout. That is why your current reality is lying to you. It is not lying by existing. It is lying when it pretends to be the whole truth. The form is loud because it is visible. The mold is quiet because it is being shaped. But the quiet thing often comes first. The blueprint precedes the building. The seed precedes the tree. The accepted inner pattern precedes the outer condition. Your current reality is a report, not a command. The form is not the source. Do not ask the ruin who you are. Enter the door. Form the mold. Then let the outer world catch up to the thing you have stopped betraying inside.